We're entering week 5 of the Texas high school football season, and okay, you know what this intro is, right? I'm going to try to get you hyped up for high school football and things like that. If you're not excited about high school football, I don't know why you clicked on this video. Plain and simple. These are the picks. Welcome into the Picks, your guide to the Texas high school football weekend. My name is Greg Tepper of Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com. Thank you so much for tuning in, and welcome to week 5 of the 2021 Texas high school football season. It's hard to believe that we are now more than a month into the season, and we're really starting to figure things out, right? I think we're starting to see some teams that are surprising us that we didn't necessarily see coming, and also some teams that, we certainly saw them coming. We're separating those contenders from pretenders, and we're getting more and more into district play. So now these games, they really matter. The non-district games, they're nice, but ultimately there's no real penalty for losing them. Now we're talking playoff positioning, we're talking brackets, we're talking postseason, we're talking to the road to AT&T Stadium. Big games everywhere you look. We start in San Antonio. 7 o'clock Friday night at Hero Stadium in San Antonio. It is a matchup of unbeatens and a critical District 28 6A showdown as the Brandeis Broncos take on the Johnson Jaguars. What are the keys to this matchup? Key number 1, Jags playing from ahead. So here's an amazing stat, okay? We're 5 weeks into the Texas high school football season. Johnson is 4-0, and they have never trailed this season. How about that? They've always thrown the first punch, and when the opposing team has a counterpunch, they punch right back. It's been very impressive what we've seen from running back Ben McCreary and quarterback Cruz Kerwin. This is an offense that's really rolling, and they're playing with a ton of confidence. Now look, we also don't know what happens when they do fall behind, which, I'll be frank, it's probably going to happen at some point, maybe even in this game. So, can Johnson play from ahead where they're comfortable, or can Brandeis put them in a position where they've never been this year? Key number 2, Brandeis' second half surge. I don't know what Coach Charles Bruce is telling his Brandeis team in the locker room at halftime, but he should keep doing it because the results have been very good. Brandeis has outscored their opponents 84-21 in the second half this season. Awfully impressive. Now, they are going between 2 different quarterbacks, Nico Garcia as well as J.C. Evans, and it's worked for them. But I think that really the star of the show is the running game with Christopher Rodriguez. I think he's the real bell cow of this offense. So, can Brandeis continue their second half magic, or will Johnson find an answer? And key number 3, the game breakers. I'm really excited about this matchup because I think it's a spotlight game for 2 of the real stars in the Alamo City that maybe people aren't paying enough attention to. On Brandeis' side, it's Aiden Ernesto Rodriguez. Okay, this guy is a do-it-all athlete. They're going to move him all around offense, defense, and special teams. He had a key kickoff return that really sparked their win last week over San Antonio Clark. He is a game breaker every time he's on the field and a threat to change the game in a hurry. On the other side, for Johnson, it's Kanan Fairley, their outstanding wide receiver, and this guy is a dynamo. He runs a 10.6 100 meters on the track team. He is a burner that Brandeis is going to have to find every time he's on the field. So, which of these game breakers has a bigger impact on this critical district matchup? Who am I picking? I'm going with Johnson. The Jaguars get the nod here on the strength of their defense, and I think their running game with Ben McCreary. I think that it's really important for them to, again, play from ahead because it keeps their defense fresh and allows them to grind it out on the ground, which is ultimately what they want to do. Now, I think Brandeis has the game breaker in this one, right, in Aiden Ernesto Rodriguez, and I think that he is going to have a big impact on this game. Furthermore, if they can get some quality quarterback play from the 2 guys they line up back there, I think we're in for a really fun finish. I think this game is pretty much a coin flip, but I do think Johnson gets the critical win. Give me the Jaguars. Let's go north. 7 o'clock Friday night at Fair Park Stadium in Childress. It's a District 3 3A Division II showdown between the Spearman Lynx and the Childress Bobcats. What are the keys to this matchup? Key number 1, the Lynx is Plan B. So the name you know for Spearman is probably Brennan Thompson. 4-star prospect, superstar, does it all, out. Not playing in this game. He's been injured for a little bit. He's likely to be out for the next couple of games as well. But that's far from the only injury problem that the Lynx have right now. Jack Davis is out. Carson Seaman is out. They are really banged up right now. Now, that hasn't stopped them from winning. Last week, they had a really gutty win by moving wide receiver Braden Klafka over to quarterback, and the defense stepped up in a big way. This is a versatile team that can beat you in a lot of different ways, and they'll need to flex that versatility if they're going to come away with a big win at Childress. So, Can the Lynx's plan B be as good as plan A? Key number 2, the Bobcats' aerial attack. And yeah, Childress is starting to take flight. And what they did last week was awfully impressive. Quarterback Colin Bishop is really slinging it around right now. And he's got a pair of wide receivers in Lamont Nickelberry and Avery Jalamo who are going crazy right now. I think last week they combined for 19 catches for 380 plus yards and 4 touchdowns. I mean, they went crazy. This offense is really humming right now. And so there's 2 questions. Can they keep that going? And what does Spearman, whose defense has been excellent, do to counter it? And key number 3, a lopsided rivalry. So we're going to get into the history of these 2 teams. And if you're a Spearman fan, you might want to plug your ears or maybe fast forward a couple of segments. Because Childress has kind of owned this series. They have won 13 of the 16 meetings. And even last year, when Spearman beat Childress in the regular season, Childress returned the favor in the playoffs, right? This is a real interesting rivalry because I actually think these 2 programs are pretty darn good and actually evenly matched, but Childress has really just kind of owned it whenever they've gotten together. And make no mistake, Spearman knows this, and Spearman's going to be playing with a chip on their shoulder. So, plain and simple, does history matter on Friday night? Who am I picking? I'm going with Childress. I think if both teams were at full strength, this might be a different conversation because I think that Spearman would have the single individual best playmaker in Brennan Thompson. But with a banged-up Lynx squad and a Childress team that is just hitting on all cylinders offensively, it's really hard to pick against the Bobcats, especially at home where they've been notoriously very difficult to beat. Now, look, people have thrown dirt on Spearman before. They probably threw dirt on him last week whenever they didn't have all their playmakers. And Braden Klafka is certainly capable of taking over this game, and the Spearman defense is very sound. But I think Childress is a little too much right now, especially at home. I think the Bobcats get a win. Let's go to Panola County, 7 o'clock Friday night at Bulldog Stadium in Carthage. It's number 1 versus number 2 in 4A Division II as the Carthage Bulldogs welcome in the Gilmer Buckeyes. This is a rematch of last year's 4A Division II state championship game in which Gilmer took a 14-0 lead and then Carthage scored the next 70. Yeah, and that sticks in Gilmer's craw, as it should, and they have looked every bit the part of a contender this year. Quarterback Brandon Tennyson has been great, got a big-time wide receiver in Rohan Fluellen, and the defense, basically aside from last week against Lindale, has been really, really good. So here's Carthage, of course, the defending 4A Division II state champs, the juggernaut there in 4A Division II, and their offense has been a little bit up and down. Jatavian Rockamore and quarterback Connor Cuff have been kind of going back and forth, sharing quarterback duties, but the defense has not been up and down. They have been rock solid, especially with linebacker Kip Lewis there. So look, this is number 1 versus number 2. It's going to tell us a lot. And here's the other thing it's going to tell us. It's kind of going to tell us if Carthage is mortal. Right? I mean, here they are taking on the number 2 team in the state. This is a team with a superstar playmaker in Brandon Tennyson that is fully capable of ripping apart this Carthage defense if they're not careful. But we're also going to find out whether or not there's anybody in Carthage's league, right? If Carthage goes and hangs another 70-14 on them, then what does that say about the state of 4A Division II, right? A lot to find out in this game. Really interesting. Wouldn't be surprised if this is the first of 2 meetings between them and they meet again at AT&T Stadium. But I ain't picking against Carthage, especially at home. Give me the Bulldogs. 7 o'clock Friday night at Riddell Field in Idalou. It's another battle of unbeatens between the New Deal Lions and the Idalou Wildcats. Idalou newly ranked in the Dave Campbell's Texas football rankings, and for good reason. They have looked outstanding. Quarterback William Wall has been very good at the quarterback spot, and I also think that their defense has been great, giving up fewer than 7 points per game. Well, they're going to need to be great taking on an absolutely dominant New Deal team. I mean, New Deal has been hitting on all cylinders. Running back Larrick Eaton, I think, is a superstar. Quarterback Harley Patterson really coming into his own. Defense has given up, I think, 13 points this season. They have been every bit as dominant as, in many respects, Idalou has. It's hard to tell what kind of game this is going to be, right? Because Idalou, at 4-0, they're really good, obviously, but I don't know if they've been tested the same way that New Deal was. That's why I think the Lions have the edge. Give me New Deal. And 7:30 p.m. Friday night at the Reservation in Port Neches, it is the 98th installment of the greatest rivalry in Texas high school football. It's Mid-County Madness between Nederland and Port Neches Groves. And this, I mean, madness is really the right word, right? If you've never seen this rivalry, it is intense, it is ferocious, it is oftentimes very chippy, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Very excited to see this quarterback matchup with Cole Crippen for Port Neches Groves going up against Nederland's Luc Broussard. And remember, last year, P&G scored in the final moments to take down Nederland, right? And Nederland ain't forgot about that. I think they've got a receipt this year. I think this game's going to be a lot of fun as usual, and it's going to be wild at the reservation. But I think Nederland gets a win. But those are far from the only big games in Week 5 of the Texas high school football season. Let's get to the lightning round. I like Bernie over Fredericksburg. Give me Midland Greenwood over Canyon. And Galena Park North Shore beats district rival Beaumont Westbrook. I'm going with East Bernard over Ganado. Give me El Dorado to take down Sonora. And it may be the biggest game in Rockwall history. The city of Rockwall, that is. I think Heath edges out Rockwall. I like Longview Pine Tree over Marshall. And down in the Houston area, it's a good one. I like Dickinson over Clear Falls. Canutillo over Clinton Mountain View. Monahans keeps rolling with a win over El Paso Riverside. One of the toughest games to call this week. I'm going with Paris, just barely over Melissa. Edinburgh Vela over Edinburgh North. Give me San Diego over Santa Gertrudis Academy. And I'm going to go with Columbus to take down Smithville. San Angelo Central beats Wolford Friendship. Battle of Unbeatens. I like West Rusk over Troop. And surprising, Carrizo Springs keeps going with a win over Zapata. Give me Denison over Prosper Rock Hill. Llano gets a win over Ballinger. And in another strange cross-regional matchup, I like Corpus Christi Miller over Waco La Vega. Give me Midlothian Heritage over Springtown. Bernie Champion over El Campo. And I like Dumas over Canyon Randall. McAllen Memorial beats McAllen Rowe. I like Windthorst to beat Wichita Falls City View. And Wimberley gets by San Antonio Alamo Heights. Yoakum beats Navasota. I like Winsboro to beat Mineola. And a matchup of unbeatens in the Alamo City, I like Smithson Valley over upstart New Braunfels. Henrietta over Lindsay, battle of unbeatens. I like Belleville to stay perfect with a win over West Columbia. And another battle of unbeatens. This one pretty surprising. I like Groover over Shamrock. Shiner edges Burton. Mart takes down Italy. And in our six-man game of the week, I'm going with Strawn over Westbrook. And those are the picks. What am I wrong about? Which games did I leave out? Leave comments down below. Don't forget that subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbells. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbells. And of course, see us at texasfootball.com. Thanks for watching. Enjoy Week 5 of the Texas high school football season. We'll see you.